Hey, Motorman here. This past Sunday, a couple of days ago, had a very interesting class. Had a rider, 75 years old, turned out to be the best rider in the class by far, and there was some stiff competition in this class. So if you're wondering, because I know people are always asking me, how do I know when it's time to quit riding? Well, watch this video. I did a phone interview with this rider after the class, and I think you'll find it very interesting, so watch it to the end. I'm speaking with Dave Shiner, and Dave came to my class last week and just did terrific. Now, looking at him, I didn't realize his age, but Dave, would you tell the folks how old you are?
Jerry, I'm 75 years old today, and so therefore this December, New Year's Eve, I'll be 76, and I've been riding since I was 16 years old.
And when did you take any kind of formal training?
I never took any formal training. Back when I started riding, you didn't need a driver's license. You could just get on a motorcycle and you could ride with your driver's license. And so I call it the School of Hard Knocks, and I had a few over the years. Nobody ever, there was no courses out there, frankly, that would teach you as you have over the years. I did purchase your video. I believe it was at one of the shows. That was about 17 years ago. I think I was at the Toronto motorcycle show, and I bought your video. And then it was at that point that I realized that I had been riding my motorcycle for many years and making the same mistakes over and over again. And once I saw that video and I started practicing the techniques that you were teaching, in dragging the back brake and using my head and eyes and using I had never heard of the friction zone. Nobody had ever taught me that. So after practicing that for a couple of years, my wife and I decided to come down and take your course. I think at that time it was in Port Richey, and we were in a parking lot there, and my eyes were opened. I went back home to Ontario, the techniques that I had learned from you, and I can say with no reservations that the techniques that I learned from you just have absolutely saved my life in a number of circumstances. And I've ridden steadily with the York Region Hog Chapter for many, many years, and traveled across the United States all through in U.S. Highway 1 out there in California, and done an awful lot of riding. And I encouraged people in our chapter, and I was the safety officer for a number of years in that chapter. I encouraged people to purchase your video and shared with them, and many of them purchased your video, and like me, they became much better riders.
All right, let me ask you, after you came to the class, and that's like 15 years ago, and then, but in that time, from that time when you came to the class 15 years ago to now, you continually practice on a regular basis. Is that the case?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you've said in your videos, like it's the muscle memory, like the only way to keep up riding and to ride into your 75th year as I am is to continually practice. And I practice all the time, and matter of fact, the guys that I ride with, before we go out on a ride, we do a couple of circles in the parking lot, and before we hit the road. And
now that you're 75, you appear to be in excellent physical condition for somebody of your age. But I think I've mentioned to you, a lot of people ask me, well, how do you know when it's time to stop riding? What do you think? How many more years do you think you'll be able to ride safely and confidently?
Well, I'm going to ride as long as I can put my leg over the saddle. To be quite honest with you, it's just a number for me. absolutely no reason to stop riding until the doctor tells you, sir, you're done.
And had you not taken this training 15 years ago, or not gotten my video 17 years ago, do you think that you'd still be riding now?
Absolutely not, Gary. As I said, there was no, prior to you, I think probably 20 years ago, teaching the lessons that you had learned with the police departments. I think that it would be an impossibility for a rider to ride as long as I have and not have a serious accident, because it's not a matter of it's mental. It's mental, and for me, I don't even think of the thought of dropping the bike is not paramount to me. Like, I don't think about it as detrimental. Frankly, if you don't drop the bike, you're not riding it. You have.
I agree with you. So many people think that's the end of the world, but when you got a bike that's protected with crash guards front and rear, a tip over is no big deal. If you never push yourself so much so that you tip the bike over, you're probably never going to get really, really good at the techniques. At the end of the class, we do. Most of the folks know that we do a sort of a competition where you run through the intersection exercise as quickly as possible with the least amount of errors. Average through there for the average class is about 32 to 34 seconds, and Dave did it in 23 seconds and with 0 errors, and of course he won the trophy. And there was some pretty stiff competition. It was close between you and a BMW rider, but I started to think about it, and I said Dave is the oldest rider ever to set the best time of the day in that exercise and actually win the best rider in class trophy. So I got to congratulate you again, and I hope to see you soon. I really enjoyed having you and watching you ride yesterday. I don't think there was anything I could add to your riding. You knew what to do. You knew how to do it. And maybe we refined your skills just a tiny bit.
Absolutely. I think every time you get out on a range with, professionals like yourself and your team, you learn something. Nobody came away from that course yesterday, including myself, without picking up something,